Hello there and welcome to my Arty Corner here on YouTube. I'm Angela Porter and I've been missing from here for a couple of weeks and I'll tell you about that and an update on me in a moment. But I'd just like to say thank you so much for joining me here. I don't know whether I'm going to be getting a video out most days for a while. It depends how my injury is. But thank you for bearing with me and for all the lovely messages I've had, even though I haven't replied to them, because sitting at the computer is still a problem. So what you can see here in front of you is I've got a piece of, this happens to be marker paper. It's Canson XL marker paper, and it's 5 inches by 5 inches, nice and small. And the book you can see here is one of my books where I keep, from time to time, I put in here patterns and motifs that interest me, words and inspiration, and goodness knows what. I haven't done it for a while, but I do need to start doing this again, as I found this became invaluable to me recently, very much so. So I am going to do some drawing today. That's all I want to do. I have been drawing, but I've not been able to draw at my desk. So I'm hoping I'm going to manage it today, even if it's not for a full hour or half an hour. We'll see how I go. As if you're new here, you won't know, or if you're returning, you may not know. But about 4 weeks ago, I pulled muscles between my ribs, my back towards between my shoulder and spine, or the bottom of my shoulder. But it's now spread around to the front as well. It's easing off. I mean, I can move, I can sit. As long as I keep warm, I'm okay. But I still get quite sore, especially in the morning. And if I get cold, then it's not a good thing. But I am mending, thank goodness. And I've been able to draw while sat in a chair downstairs mainly. It's sitting at, and I've been able to ink some templates in for the book I'm working on my computer, but it's not been the easiest time for me, I do have to say that. I'm frustrated as anything. Okay, so what size pen have I got? I've got an 03, but I think I might want to actually go with an 05 to begin with. Just have some nice, decently chunky lines here. And I'm just going to fill this in with some motifs and patterns that either attract my attention from my little book here, I call it a Zibaldoni, which is another name for a kind of commonplace book, or a visual dictionary, a visual reference. And I've kept one of these now for several years. I think this is my second one. Every now and again I start a new one and I transfer the things that I use most often, or that, that catch my attention, the ones I particularly love, into a new one, and then start collecting again. And sometimes, no doubt, I'll add the same kinds of ones, but it looks like an eye, but it's not meant to. More like a seed pod of sorts, I suppose. And I'll adjust how this looks in a moment, because I'm aware I don't want eyeballs everywhere. As much as I love Halloween, and I do very much, it's now December. So for the last 4 weeks, I've been in quite a lot of pain a lot of the time. For about 2.5 weeks or so, I could barely sit up. Well, I couldn't sit up. I had to lie down nearly all the time. I couldn't sit. I was in screaming agony, even through strong painkillers. And I'm able to sit now. I just have to be careful. It does still look like an eyeball, so I am going to add some petals around the outside. I'm just going to do some relatively small ones, very simple in shape and in form, because these are the ones I would like. There's nothing much else to say really, because it's curtailed me in so many ways. And I've got a deadline to complete a book by a week Monday. So getting back into that this week meant that I had to redo quite a few templates for it, because my head was not in the right space and was still fuddled by the stronger painkillers, I'm convinced. Not a good thing. But I'm just on to fairly ordinary, simple ones, just to keep the pain at bay at the moment. And my heart goes out to each and every one of you who lives with pain like this on a day-to-day basis. I am feeling very, very grateful that I am on the mend, and hopefully there'll be no lasting injury from this. They did say 4 to 6 weeks. I'm at week 4. And I'm able to drive more comfortably as well, which is a good thing, because I do have some journeys to take, so it stopped me doing some essential things I need to do. So we're okay. And at the moment, I woke up to snow on the ground this morning. Not a lot, but enough to, well, wish that I could go back to bed and forget about the day for a while. It's nice to see, but I don't like being out in snow. In the UK, we're not really geared up to snow. I mean, a light flurry can bring the whole country to a standstill, a grinding halt. And it's been cold for a number of days, but it's really got really quite cold now. It still looks like an eye. But I'm talking about my drawing now, not the snow. And we've got a snow warning in place until midday tomorrow. Okay, so I'm just going to put some petals in the middle here, and I'm just going to fill the centre in, I think, just like this, perhaps with some small things. There we are. Perhaps that looks a little less like an eye now, and maybe it will if I do something here. Yeah, I've worked out I'm not really that comfortable working on my desk like this, but I should be okay. For a little while longer. So I've got a very strange looking flower here. Okay, let's have a look at adding some line weight here and there, which just helps to add that sense of dimension before I start to add any colour or shading. Definitely gone off the weird end today. So if you've been wondering, that's where I've been. And I do want to apologise that I haven't responded to all the comments, because until, it's taken me all my effort and my patience with myself to respond to emails that have had to be responded to do with business and whatnot. So, but I will. I promise you I will. When I can sit a bit more comfortably, and I'll be fine. Okay, so it's a very strange flower, but it's a flower nonetheless. And flowers need leaves of some kind. And I'm going to make them. If I use my pencil, I'm going to draw the rough shape I want. But I don't want a smooth edge. I want an edge that's got some interest to it. So I'm going to use this to create a leaf that has a wave-like edge. Not a pointy one, but it's actually got rounded edges because, well, it's my plant, so it can have what it likes. And this particular plant wants a wavy edged leaf. missed there with that line, but it's fine. And I'm just going to put lines that go up to the centre of these sections. So just to make them look a bit more like a leaf. But I don't want it to touch the edge. I just feel I just want to have it going towards the edge more than anything. So that suggests we actually have a flower here. It's a bit of an alien one, but I can live with alien ones. I really can. Okay, I do want to add some other things here. So I'm going to add down here a shape like this. And then it's kind of a curvy U shape. No, it doesn't look like a U shape to you because I'm drawing it upside down, but just want something that looks this kind of shape. Now, as I'm going to be using alcohol markers to fill this in, I shouldn't really be putting any lines in because they're likely to smudge with the alcohol. But I'm going to do it so what I'm trying to do here is just get these to hook over a little bit. And then I've got it's kind of like a seed pod of a kind. So let's have a couple of these growing out. It is a bit like a seed pod. It's a very strange seed pod, but it'll do. They always do. It's really funny how, it's been a couple of weeks since I've done, well, it's been nearly a month since I've done much art. And it's funny how you forget things. It feels that I've lost my inspiration or my mojo. Not my mojo, that's a silly statement. But I do feel that I've lost something. And it's just taking me a while to get back into this. And I just don't know whether that makes any sense at all, but it just feels very strange to try to find or work out how things can go together and how things work. And to be honest with you, having this reference book, I wish I'd remembered about it a couple of days ago. Because I could have done with the inspiration that is within it. And sometimes the inspiration comes from going, no, not that. Some of the templates, but thinking straight hasn't been a skill I've had for a while. If ever, actually. No, seriously, a while. But I'm getting there. Sounds like I'm moaning, but I'm not, honestly. There's not a lot else to say because literally there has been nothing going on in my life. I've watched an awful lot of YouTube. Lots of weird and wonderful things on there. I've been learning about things I knew nothing about, which is interesting, always. Watched some artsy crafty stuff, but not a lot. It's mainly been things to do with fossils and sort of podcasts and cooking and all kinds of things, I suppose. I'm falling asleep with it on and waking up to the most ridiculous things played in my head, for goodness sakes. So here I'm just creating like a stalk like this, and then I'm just putting I don't know what kind of shape that is, sort of like splays out, and then a downward curve there that I can fit a circle on, kind of like, I suppose it's a bit like a golf tee, but I just want some shapes like this so that I can sort of ring around these with these circular shapes, which are quite fun. Just something a bit different, I suppose. And then here I'm going to put another one of these leaves, and I'm going to put that pencil line in and just start going. It is a kind of wave, but the distance down to the bottom, you can see I go up a long way, down a little bit, up a long way, down a little bit, and so on. You could zigzag it if you prefer, but I just thought sort of rounded wave shapes would be quite nice today. Something a little bit different. Okay, so up here I want, yeah, these are very strange over here. I've got very strange things going on here today, I have to say. I really do. But you know, I think I'm allowed. And I could put them all around this way, but I think I'm going to leave them uneven, because then it's consistent across all of them, as if it's a deliberate kind of thing, if that is how these kind of grow. Okay, I'm going to flick back a couple of pages perhaps and see what else I've got here that attracts my attention I can use. Because there's, I kid you not, it's ridiculous the amount of stuff that I have. Okay, so I'm going to go back to a circular shape here, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to put a triple lot of kinds of little seeds here, and I am going to fill them in with black, like so. And then I'm going to draw some segments in like this. So they look like a strange kind of seed pods, or something you might find in a weird ocean. Microscopic view. So things like that are always good fun. And it's good fun as well to actually stack them. I put 3 in the centre on that one, but this one perhaps I'll just put 1. Marker paper is incredibly smooth to draw on. It's also really thin. Well, this one is, though the Ohuhu one, which I use a lot, isn't thin. Different brands, different kinds, you know. But most of the big art brands, it's very fine or thin paper. It's coated specially to stop markers bleeding, both bleeding through the paper to the other side, but also bleeding across the paper, so that they will stay where you put them, as it were. They won't feather out or bleed out of lines and so on. And they also don't need as much of the alcohol marker to become damp with it, so it's easier to blend colours on them. So it's really worthwhile getting them. And relatively speaking, they're relatively inexpensive for specialist papers. I can't remember how much I paid for this book. It's Canson XL. I did get it on Amazon. I'm not sponsored for this. I don't get paid a penny. But there are many other brands. And there are 100 sheets in this, and I think I paid, it's Canson XL, it's marker layout, marker paper. I think I paid about £10 for it, British pounds. And it's one of the less inexpensive, the more inexpensive, there we are, let's get it right, kinds of papers, marker papers out there. But I really do like it. So here I'm going to add some poddy type things in here. I'm just going to have them on a slender stalk where I can get the stalk in. I'm not always going to manage to get the little bobbly bit on the end, like here. I'll change its shape because who says it always has to be the same shape? Not me. So like that. And, I'm going to add something to this now in a moment. Got this one here. And I think don't need to necessarily to put a stem in, but I think I will there just to make it feel as if it belongs. And then this one I'm definitely going to tuck in behind here, like so, and have a collection of them like that. And I also want to pop this kind of shape here. And I'm going to go back and just add blackness inside, as if we've got a little seed sticking out there, just poking its way out, which is quite nice. Okay, so I want something to go over into this corner, and I think the best thing I can do here is to use the Zentangle Tangle Muka in my favourite style, which is having this little curved area going inside it there. Hope you'll bear with me as I get back into the swing of doing YouTube videos. I mean, it's been a while now, and I think once you can get out of the flow of things and forget how you do things, which could be a blessing in disguise for me. Having to find the way again, as it were. Actually, I think I might fill all of that in black. It's remembering how I do things generally, or finding out how to do these things again. And of course, at the moment, it really is drawing practice for me, because it's been so long since I've done much. It is so lovely to be able to do this. I can't tell you how much I missed just the simple pleasure of just drawing for pleasure, for joy, for no other reason, not because I had a contract or a deadline, because I could. Talking of pleasure and joy, one of the things I did watch whilst not able to do very much was Wednesday on Netflix. Oh my gosh, I laughed so much at places. And the sad thing is, I actually recognise myself in Wednesday to a degree. I'm not murderous, but I certainly do have an interest in forensic science and working out how puzzles and things and, you know, sort of like whodunits and so on. Always have done. So don't think I'm a little, you know, exactly like that. You're just there going, oh my gosh. Yeah. So it was kind of, to me, it was a bit like Tim Burton films, you know, meets Harry Potter, meets Percy Jackson, meets the ridiculousness of the Addams family and so on, and it was just hilarious. And good, and also interesting. So I really do hope they're going to make a few more seasons of that. This year needs something, I think. These look rather blank and bland here. I know I'm going to be adding colour, but I almost feel that they need something else, but perhaps I will leave those until I've added colour. Okay, next. All right, so let's have a look. Ooh, close that gap. All right, so I'm going to go here because I do, often with things that I draw, there is no right way or wrong way to draw things. As in right way up. And I quite like that kind of flexibility to work in any direction, as if there's no right way up. Although there could be, well, there will be, I suppose, when I come to do things like add colour or shadow and highlights. But then they depend on what direction the light is coming from. Sometimes it's just fun to generate things that are just a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to go for my 03 pen here because I just want to put some lines in here. I am missing my lines a bit. You can tell I haven't done a lot in the way of accurate drawing or very neat, tidy drawing. As my fine motor control is a bit discombobulated, just a bit. But it comes back with practice, like everything. So that's actually quite fun, I like that. But perhaps I need a couple more, so I'm going to perhaps draw some other ones. I'm going to start the top of these. I sort of work out where this is going. Put the top in. So if you look, it sort of like goes off towards there. I'll put the frilly bottom in, like so. And I am going to put a border there. Then I can do the same here and put the next layer in, give it a frilly bottom, which can be even or uneven as I've just drawn. Draw another one in and then that'll work quite nicely. Like weird sort of winter trees, Christmas trees, snowy trees, fir trees. But you know, I don't think you're going to get ordinary from me, ever. It's possible. I think I'd wonder myself what mind state I was in if I did ordinary. So let's pop some of these lines in. These are more for texture, I think. Again, as I'm doing this, I'm beginning to think, Angela, why are you doing this before you add the colour? You run the risk of smearing even more lines. Well, hey-ho. It does help if I actually leave the ink to dry or heat it up with a hairdryer or heat tool just to dry the pigment off. But another tip, if you find you're using, because I use alcohol markers a lot, but the same when it goes to water-based media, is once you've got the ink dry, run an eraser over it to pick up any loose pigment. It's less likely to smear. It doesn't stop it completely, but it does mean that it's less likely to smear. Right then, so I'm having a look. what direction do I want the next one to go? And I think up this way will be quite interesting. So we'll have this one going here, and the top will be up here somewhere, so I'll just pop that one in. And there. Again down there, and then this one is where I can wiggle it nicely around and make a very interesting kind of bottom. There we go. Like so, and then I'll get the 03. And add some lines in here. And I'll do the same at the bottom. So we've got 3 of these in, but I do need some other stuff just to fill this in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add one of these here. So rather than get overly complicated by going, oh, can I add something new and different here? As I just think about the templates I've done, I'm thinking, Angela, that's exactly what you've done, kind of. Yeah, but here I just thought I'm going to try to keep it simple. I've got a lot of different motifs going on. But in this section, I've got the perfect things to be able to just add something to this section so it doesn't look completely empty. So I've got some other bits in there, so that muka looks really nice there. And then what I think I'll do on this area, just to fill this in and to tie things in, is to add some muka over here, like so. And perhaps a little one can go in under here, because I think that'll look quite nice there. Just go and add those little bits of ink that I like just under there, just that little connection that's here, just to fill that in. And then I'm going to just pop another one here. Like so. There's a little bit of darkness there. So that looks quite fun. And I almost feel I could pop another one in here, just to fill that little section there. That looks quite nice. Okay. All right. So I've got a little bit left to do here. I've got this here. So I'm going to flick my pages over. I'm going to look for something to grab my attention. I'm going to stretch the muscles that are beginning to feel tense. I'm not used to sitting in the position I am. Okie dokes. So I think I know what I'd like to do. And I'm going to, here I've got triangular shapes that are pointing this direction. So how about if I do some shapes that are like this and are a bit like ginkgo leaves, because I do love a ginkgo leaf. And with these, I can have them branching as well. Like so. And then we have a look, so we can have one coming off here. Perhaps I'll have one up here. It really doesn't matter too much what direction you have these pointing off in from these, because they will always work out, I think. I'm going to pop one there. There we go. One behind, just to prove the point. Back there. And then perhaps I could have one going here. Like so. And they actually fill this in really nicely, I think so anyway. So I'll have one that comes up here. And yeah, I've gone nearly to the edge of this paper, haven't I? Nearly, but not quite. So let's have a small one here. Perhaps with just one little notch in it. And perhaps the same here. Like so. And then I am going to have one that fills this area in, I think. Like so, so that fills it in quite nicely. And the other thing I want to do with these is I am going to connect these sections, close them off with a little curve that bends downwards towards the base of these little sections. Sometimes I have it where it bows outwards, so it looks like you've got something almost like a gem in there or something like that. But today I'm just going to do it like that. And then I could extend that this way. But I think what I'll do here is I'm going to borrow some of these from up here and put some of these down here as well. So let's have a look. Start with the top. And we'll do this. And then I can do the same here. Like so. And perhaps with just a little bit on the top there. Perhaps another one here. The nice thing about tucking them in behind each other is you don't have to worry too much about these sections here. I think pop this one on this side as well, where they connect here, because we can have the stems going down behind those balls so you don't see them. So it's one less thing to worry about here. And then I've got this little section here. And I think I'm going to do exactly what I did on the other side. Well, not quite exactly the same, but the same idea, where I'm going to use these mucas just to fill this little space in a nice kind of way. So I'm going to have one coming up here as well. And then perhaps another one that can just go around like that. And that just ties that off nicely. And then I've got this lovely kind of pattern. Now, I could draw. I think I may very well draw in the boundary here, inking along the pencil line. So I've got a distinct frame here. Now, normally I'd have drawn this with a ruler, so they would have been a very consistent sort of straight line and edge. But I think I may be okay to do this. So it is just practice, so having it perfect isn't the issue here. It's perfectly imperfect. Okay, just fill that in. Goes there, and that's it now. Just that little bit there. So that's my drawing. And I just need to decide where I want to put my initials. That's a difficult one. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pop them in here. So this is no one, it's finest, so I should be able to get them in there, like so. Okie dokes, so that's all the drawing done. So what I'm going to go and do is I'm going to go and dry this very quickly. I'm going to grab some markers and then I'll be back. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay. Okay, that didn't take me very long, but I didn't want to subject you to the noise of the heat tool and so on. That's interesting. I've got a pen missing from here. I know where it is though. So I've been using it on a different piece of work. I've remembered that now. So these are Ohuhu art markers, which are smaller than the usual ones, but they've got this set has got such pretty colours in it, I couldn't resist. And so I'm going to draw colours from this set. I most probably will use possibly this one. This one's the powdery orange. That cadmium yellow is beautiful. And I'm looking to see what colour would actually work nicely with that to blend it out. And I think I may use, I've got the cadmium yellow, and with that, melon yellow is a lighter one, so that's 1, 2, 3. I love, needs bright colours today, really do need bright colours. Okay, so this one is a slightly lighter colour, so I'm going to use this to colour some areas in. And I think I'm going to use it on these ones. Now, this paper is likely to go slightly transparent as I'm adding colour to it, or look like it's darker, because this is the nature of these pens. And I'm going to add this darker one around the edge, like so. Then I'm going to come back here with that lighter toned one. And then I have got a colourless blender, so I'm going to use that just to blend that out. And you might be able to see that you can see through it, but as it dries, honestly, it'll go back opaque. It really does. So I'm just going to use these. They were at hand, so I'm making use of them. So I just want to add this around the edge. Like so. So I've got a nice dark area. I'm going to come back, add the lighter colour in there, and then finally I'm just going to add some of this. And you can see that this one is sort of going through the back, but it doesn't actually bleed through, as in it won't go onto the paper underneath, which is the whole idea. And here I've managed to spill some across there. It'll be fine. And I'll do the last one. But you can see as it dries, like this one here, it dries back to opaque, so I'm not worried one little bit about it. So bring the darker colour around the edge, coming back with the lighter colour just to blend the edge out, and then the colourless blender just to put that highlight back in there. They actually dry really quickly on marker paper because the marker paper does not pick up the colour as much. This is the darker colour, so I'm going to quickly just go around these with the darker colour on one side. I'm going to employ the Zentangle idea of adding shadow as a pattern, not as if there's a light source. So I'm going to do the same on each of these, where I'm adding the darker colour, or I think this is the darker colour, on one side and then the other colour on the other side of these. So I'm being consistent all the way around them. So I'll come back, they should blend. And though these have dried, they'll blend nicely on the marker paper, or should do. The principles of adding colour are the same, really, no matter what medium you choose to use. Right, okay, 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3. That's the not 1, 2, 3 one. And I will come back because I can see where the colour is light, and I'm just going to put a spot of this somewhere towards the edge on that lighter side. Where my colour's spilled over, like here, I'm not going to worry too much because whatever colour I use for these later on, I'll be fine. Really bright and vibrant colours, aren't they? Okay, so I'll leave those. I want to leave these dry for a moment before I decide what I want to do. Here, I know I've got some lovely, lovely purple colours. This is lovely, this bright pink, but there isn't a purple that goes with it, really. There is, sort of. I think the lavender and the blue violet would be lovely. So that's 271 and 2665. There we go. So these two. So I'm going to use the darker colour at the base of these petals. I'm not going to do them all, just in case. But I am then going to use the lighter colour for the rest of the petal. In fact, I think perhaps I ought to use the lighter colour first and then come back with the darker colour. Apart from swatching, it's the first time I've actually used these colours, so it's going to be an interesting experience for me as well. And yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll just colour a couple in the light colour, come back with the dark. I'll add the dark to the paper when it's moist with alcohol marker. It should be easier to blend out then, it won't dry quite as quick. And I'm just going to add some more of the dark to this one while it's moist. And just blend that out as well. Not going to worry about my mistake there in the middle. Same here. And back with the darker colour. Blend those out. Like so. And then as it dries, you can see that you don't notice quite so much where the line of the dark colour is. These aren't the best for flicking the pen and leaving, increasingly fine lines as you flick, because they are really sturdy bullet tips. Completely different. They feel very different to the other Ohuhu markers I've got. As I said, these were close to hand, so I was going to make use of them. Gosh, that squeaked. I do apologise if you don't like squeaky sounds. That was an unexpected sound. I didn't expect it to squeak in that kind of way. So it's looking fab. Okay. Now I'm not going to painstakingly colour all of this in with you, but don't know how much more I'll get done, because this was mainly drawing practice, you know, for me, because I desperately need it. And I mean desperately need drawing practice after the best part of 4 weeks not doing very much. You never forget. It's like riding a bike. You don't forget, but you need to exercise those muscles and senses and skills, you know, that you've developed as well. And so this is what I need to do at the moment, is I need to develop these. Okay, for the middle ones, I am going to make use of this lovely pinky colour here and the paler purple, because even though I've spilled over into this area that little bit, I think these will blend quite nicely together here. I think they are. So because I'm doing smaller areas, not taking me quite so long to colour each one in, I'll do more in one go. Now, the best way to both improve arts, I think, and drawing skills is just to draw every day. I could be wrong. I'm sure there are people who disagree with me on that. But I certainly have known, you know, from the time I got involved in art, seriously involved with art, or, you know, creating things artistically when I was doing my A-level art in my late 30s, early 40s, was that you couldn't stop me drawing. I just fell in love with it. And every spare moment I had, there'd be a sketchbook or some artwork out. And it was so important to me. I can't tell you how important art was, and what an incredible difference it made to me in many ways in my life. It really, really did. And I'll always be grateful for that opportunity. Always, always. Okie dokes, I'm going to try something. Because what I've got here is I've got, well, I've got this yellow green I want to use, but there's not another green that really goes with it. The Naples Yellow may work to lighten it. Let's have a look. So I'm going to try the Naples Yellow in these sections here. I'm going to start by applying the Naples Yellow. Then I'm going to add this yellow green to the bottom, the tops and the sides, and trying to leave a section in the middle that is going to be paler in colour. And then I'm just going to come back and go over that and work it in so it blends. Not quite sure how much it's going to blend, how well it's going to blend, but I should try these things, you don't know. I quite like yellow green. limey, you know, I prefer much brighter limey green, I guess. But I do really enjoy the yellowy green next to purples. I do have to say that. Magenta. They're sort of like complementary colours, and I can't help it, I like them. I'm well impressed that my fine liner pens aren't bleeding with these markers. It's not just the markers, it's the fact I'm using marker paper and I dried it and I've used an eraser to pick up any loose pigment and so on. But that's looking quite nice. Now I'll know which ones I've used with this, so that's not a problem or an issue. Okay. Do I want to go whole hog and try and use all of these colours? The answer is no, I don't. But I think you're beginning to get the idea, possibly. For these, I'm so tempted to turn them green, but I'm not. I'm going to use something different, I think. Trying to work out what I would like to use. Know which... Okay, come on then. Oh, this is decisions. See, I've got pastel rose and rose bloom. That's quite a nice variation on that one. That one's deeper, isn't it? Cherry red and that would most probably work well together. Let's go for that. Cherry red, which is, what colour is that? 218. And then the 190. There we go. All right, this is what we're doing. Last section. Oh gosh, I didn't draw my drawing board, did I? Most probably. I'm just going to do one section here, just to get the idea here. So I've got that lovely, lovely lighter pink, and I'm adding this darker colour here. It's cherry red it's called, but it's quite a pinky colour. And then I'm just using this pen just to dissolve the colour at the end and blend it out, and just adding a bit more along there. And that should work quite nicely, actually. Just do one more section, give that one a chance to dry. Let's do this. And with some of these, I am letting the ink go further down the line than with others. So I'm giving some variation there as well. And I am going over the top. Like so. That's actually looking not too shabby. The lovely thing is you can actually go back and add some more of this colour, and it glazes what's there and darkens it, so I can intensify the shadow underneath there just that little bit. I'm going to do the same here. I'm not fussed on these nibs on this. I'm really not fussed on them. There's a chisel tip on the other end, and it would stop me scratching around, but I'm not as precise with chisel tips as I am with bullet tips or even brush tips, which can be my nemesis a bit. But let's have a look. The other thing I watched, this is me talking rubbish here as I do this, is I was so glad to find that the new Criminal Minds series, Criminal Minds Evolution, is on Disney Plus here in the UK. Though I'd already subscribed to Paramount Plus because I thought it would be on there, but it's no, it's on Disney Plus. And I just thought, oh, typical, blimmin' typical, eh? You just think, just when you think that things are all sorted. But yeah, I just really enjoying it. It's quite different, same but different. And so I've enjoying watching that every week. Still got Andor to watch, one of the Star Wars seasons, and there's some new Star Wars things there to watch. I just haven't got round to it. And once I'm back in the swing of doing things of an arty nature, I could almost guarantee that television will pretty much go out the window, I would think, but I don't know. Okay, so I'm using a yellow and an orange here for this. So I'm going to put orange towards the edge, just to give that kind of shadow, and just blend that out a little bit. So that might be the better way for me to do it, is to put the darker colour in, like so. And just do this. So I've been enjoying that. So I look forward to that on a Friday evening. It's released here in the UK on a Friday. I think in the US, if you're in the US, you get it on Thursdays, I think. Hey ho. So that actually looks okay, doesn't it? But I think what I would like to do is just add some of the colours blender, just to give lighter colours towards the middle, as I did over here. Very bright colours. Didn't expect them to be this, well, I knew they were this bright, I'd just forgotten about them. It's all good fun. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've got this peacock green here. This, I think, would make a fabulous background for these. So I'm just going to fill in some of this so we get an idea of this and how it's going to work or not. There's a test for me, filling in these tiny areas with these very long and very hard I think that would actually look quite nice. I do quite like a quite intense background, though we're going very brightly coloured here, so there's not going to be a lot of contrast between hue and saturation, possibly. We'll see. It may work out fine. But as I've said already, this is really just drawing and colouring practice for me, more than anything else. And if it doesn't get finished, it doesn't get finished. It will have served its purpose in just me doing this. Me proving to myself I can sit here and create for as long as I've been sat here creating, which has been, it was probably about an hour and 10 minutes in total, if not longer. I think. So that's pretty good going. I'm pleased with that. And I know that day by day I'll be able to do more and more, as long as I don't push myself. So I'm getting to that point where I feel I might be pushing myself just that little bit too hard, and it's probably time for me to go, right, let's get this video edited, let's go and get a cup of tea, get the video sorted, and take a break from this. Because otherwise I won't be able to get anything done towards the contract, the book I'm working on tomorrow, and I need to do some tomorrow. And the sun's going down, so the temperature's going to drop, so I need to make sure I go somewhere where I'll be assured of warmth, which is basically anywhere in my house. Well, not quite, but... And Just sort myself out. So I think that'll work actually. I think that will show the colours up really quite nicely. And there's not going to be a lot of it because I haven't left much space for the background really. Trying to work out where the background goes here. I overspilled a bit there, but you know what? It'd be fine because whatever colour I use to fill that section in will shift that little bit of colour. I need a little bit there. Some up here. I think that'll look quite nice. So let me know what you think. I mean, it's going to be a while before I finish this, if at all. But what I'm going to say is, I'm just going to say thank you for joining me. I know it's been a while. I know I've been inactive, but I have had good reasons. And although I don't think I'm going to be back every single day doing this, just move those away, tidying up while I chat. As the days go by, I'll be back to a more, or certainly a regular schedule, as in you'll know, you have an idea that I'm likely to be putting videos on certain days. And I'm certainly looking forward to sharing hints and tips and ideas with you. These really haven't blended very well, have they? Now I've seen them dry. But it's okay because, tell you what, coloured pencils may sort that, or I may need to use a different colour, but I can sort that at another time if necessary. It'll do for now. It is what it is. So look after yourselves. Keep yourselves warm if you're somewhere cold. Keep yourself somewhere cool if you're somewhere hot. And if you're at the right temperature, lucky you, is all I'm going to say. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Once again, thank you so much for bearing with me. Ta-ra. Bye. Hoyle.